Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. So, crazily enough, I guess we are going to be looking at a potential serial number 11 launch today. Starship serial number 11. I thought the fog was too much. I'm trying to look here. Hold on. Just Starship. Yeah, okay. I don't know why this thing is really funky. All right, hold on one sec. Let me make a new let me try this one. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Sorry. I'm putting this together fast because I just assumed that there would be several hours before we would be going, but now all of a sudden it looks like it's actually happening. So there we go. Sorry about the thumbnail also. I know the thumbnail's wrong. I'll fix that before I get to like posting this, reposting, whatever. But anyway, in the meantime, let me see. I'm hoping I want to try to catch this on my phone because there we go. All right. Just because I want to be able to see the live streams. Okay, hold on. There we go. Live streams. Okay. All right. So I think we are set to roll. I've got the Starship thing up on my Discord channel. If anybody is there, if you can sort of keep an eye out for SpaceX's live stream, because I'm sort of refreshing. Let's see. It's what happens when you watch it on both. Oh, okay. Let me see. Hold on. It looks like it actually might be interact. Let me see if I can actually get this. Well, that's not helpful. All right, let me see if I can actually bring up the correct answer here. Fred, yes, let's go. And Carlo, thank you. I'm trying to find the exact, oh gosh, where is it? SpaceX watch, because it appears to be that they are, yeah, okay, let me bring this up. I just need this Starship index, okay. It's very complicated using this OBS because it doesn't quite react the same way you expect it to. All right. Great. So I'm not exactly sure why it's not popping up the... Like, it's not letting me... Oh, that's weird. What is this YouTube thing? Let's see. Oh, there we go. All right. Now, apparently it's showing on this, but... Okay. Oh, no, that's Everyday Astronaut. Why do I have that as my thing? Oh, that's why. All right, hold on. Sorry. Maybe I can actually interact with this screen. There we go. Okay. And fingers crossed. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Okay, so let me take a look at... I'm going to turn up the SpaceX feed. If it gets too loud, let me know. I can't hear directly. So, wow, they're saying 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Let me move this screen down just a teeny bit. Like, as you can tell, this is SpaceX's view. So it's not exactly, I don't know. Hopefully they will have like a drone or something like that that's above the fog. Because if anybody happens to know, fog is actually ground-based. So, you know, if they get up 50 meters or something, it may be perfectly blue sky. But, yeah, I'm sorry. I would have started this live stream earlier, except that I was just like, there's no way they're going to launch in the fog. But right now they are saying 3 minutes and 48 seconds to go. So, woohoo! Yes, people. Fred, yes, people have reported venting. I was sort of listening to Everyday Astronaut as I was, you know, just going, and it was quite loud. Actually, they were getting a lot of venting. Let me turn this down and turn. Sorry, two computers at once. I'm going to see if I can hear what's going on my other computer. Yeah, it's just an awful lot of noise. I just hear kind of venting and everything. I'm going to turn up the SpaceX stream just a little bit, so hopefully you'll be able to hear both. Let me know in the comments how it's doing in terms of like the balance between me and the other. So, yeah, okay, I'm starting to get a whole bunch of like things are popping up going like Starship is about to launch, Starship is about to launch. So, fingers crossed. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is going to be the time, of course, they're going to stick the landing. Because, you know, if we can't see it, although I can actually see, like, a very sort of basic shape in the middle of the screen. So, there is something there. Can't see very much of it, but such is life. So, yeah, let's see what happens. All right. So, any questions? Yeah. Carlo Herman, yes, fog, strong venting. Yes, it's definitely, like I said, when I was listening before, there's a lot of venting. I'm going to put on my headphones just so I can hear a little bit of the feed. and I'm definitely getting, it's pretty quiet right now, as I'm sure you can tell. So yeah, so anyway, okay, so just a real quick recap. So this is serial number 11. They had a couple of hops, and then they had, okay. There you go. I don't know. Can you hear that? Can you hear the SpaceX feed over the top of mine? I hope you can. So anyway, if you could hear that, they've got T-minus 2 minutes. Anyway, so 8, 9, and 10 have all launched. 8 and 9 crashed. So what they do is they launch up. They just kind of hover in space for a while at about 10K. Then they do that flip maneuver. They come down. They do a flip at the last minute, and they attempt to land. Everything has gone very well on that up until the last little piece of the landing. So 8 and 9 both blew up on landing. 10 landed hard because it didn't have enough thrust on its rockets, and it kind of crushed some things, and about 6 minutes after landing it blew up also. So you can go back and watch the live streams of all of those if you want to. They're on my channel. Just kind of search for SpaceX or serial number 8 launcher. Oh, I just saw a seagull. So we're actually seeing something. Okay, 58 seconds. I mean, apparently it's going to launch. This is crazy. So yesterday, how will it land if fog covers the platform? Yes, autonomously. Jimmy, here we go. This is absolutely crazy that they're going to do this in the fog. So it uses GPS. So it will be able to land via GPS. So on Mars, obviously that wouldn't work, but it works fine on Earth. So wow, I can't believe it. 24 seconds. Fingers crossed, everybody. So yeah, it at sea, etc. When they land their Falcon 9 boosters, they land using GPS for most of it. Here we go. Fingers crossed. I can't believe it's going to launch. Ah, this is crazy. 1. Oh, we've definitely got something. Is it going? There's lights on. There's lights on. There's lights on. Oh wow. Okay, so it looks like they've got a rocket view. Okay, they've got an internal rocket view. That is pretty cool. So obviously everything's working well. You can see that the 3 engines are burning very, very nicely. Wow. Dude, I can't believe this thing. I have the magic touch. Every time I live stream, it seems like they launch. So that doesn't seem kind of fair, but there you go. Here we go. Here we go. It's ascending. I have no idea if we will be able to get an external view. Like right now, they're showing a back view. Interesting. There's a lot of orange. And let's see. Yeah, I know, right? Aptera's like, liftoff, baby. I can't believe it. So anyway, so unfortunately, the exciting part of this is the landing because, well, I mean, hopefully the exciting part is the landing because hopefully the rest of this they've got dialed in. So if this follows the profile that all the other ones have done, somewhere around 420 LOL, the engines, so up until then, the engines kind of cut off one after another so that we only end up with 1 engine. So 3 are burning right now to get up to altitude. And then 1 will disengage and a second will disengage, and it will kind of float, and then it will vent off the extra methane and oxygen out of the tanks so that it's as light as possible as it's flying. And then somewhere around 420-ish, the final engine will cut off and it will begin to fall back, and it takes about 2 minutes to fall back down again. And so at that point, it will be on the order of 6 minutes and 15 seconds or so when it actually lands. Let's see. Pointy nose up, 3 Raptors on. Oh no, we've got people on Discord who are on the train in Europe and unfortunately stuck with apparently bad internet inside tunnels. So. Okay, so they say they're about to shut down 1 engine. So here goes 1 engine. So we should have, just watch the feed here. They've got a really good stable feed. Okay, so you'll see it's going to go, yeah, there it goes. So 1 flame out. So this is as expected. So now we've got 2 and it's going to go up slower. So, amazing. So remember that we're not trying to get to orbit with this thing. We're just trying to get to 10 kilometers. So it's actually got too much thrust. And so we have to cut these things off. And the cutoffs cause it to rise more slowly, and then when it finally gets down to one engine, it just basically hovers. It's it's balancing gravity with the thrust from the one engine, and then they can vent all the extra stuff and prepare for the belly flop. So 2 minutes 4K, one of 3 after is cut off. Yes, thank you. Discord is Discord is giving me the stuff, and yes, it is foggy. I'm really hoping that I can't tell if we're actually getting. It looks like they may have a frozen feed. It's really hard to tell. So unfortunately, we may get like almost no view of the landing. So hopefully, what we won't see is a giant explosion. We won't see a very bright light. So okay, so here we go. We're back to 2. I think we're down to 1 engine now. It looks like it's down to 1. It's so weird that they decided to. I think they just were desperate to get this thing off the ground. So only 1 engine is running now. Carlo, too bad we won't see the belly flop. That is correct. That's too bad. Okay. And we have lost visual. That kind of sucks. So we will see. I love that we're hearing like seagulls and things. So this sucks. So apparently everything is working right. They just have no ground cameras because it's so foggy out. Let me take a quick look at. Yeah, everybody. Oh, so it's actually falling. Okay. Like I said, around 420. Okay. All right. So, Terrence, yes, surprised they launched in such poor visibility. I am too. I guess they figured that they've got enough telemetry that they don't need the visuals. So you can see the video finally cut back on again, and so we're sideways. So it's actually falling properly. We're just not getting that cool outside view where we're getting the outside coming down. Carlo, maybe that was the whole point. Maybe they were like, "Screw you, FAA observer. We're gonna make you watch this thing without being able to see a blessed thing." So, so we should be about 1 minute. It's 5:08. Somewhere around 6:10, 6:15 is when the landing happens. I don't know what's going to happen since it's so foggy. We may get video from the ship, but it's also possible that it may cut out at that point, because when the rocket engines cut on, it's going to get very jiggly. So it's possible that we won't see anything. It might just go to black screen. Although we're getting really cool. I love those trailers coming out. The contrails coming off the sides. So it's doing a belly flop, and it's basically got arms and legs, and it's adjusting itself. These little winglets that it's doing. So it's down to 1K. So it should start doing the flip very, very rapidly. We should see. Oh, there goes the light. We're seeing the light. Okay. Oh, darn, it's cutting out. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this sucks. We can't see anything. So, who the heck knows what's going on? Oh, man. I literally have no idea. It's who the heck knows? It should have landed. We don't know. This is crazy. This is the funniest thing in the world, that we have no idea if it actually landed or not. It seems like the video cut out at 5:49, so I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm not seeing any like giant explosions or anything, so maybe it landed. They could get the data, yes. No boom is a good sign. That's definitely a good sign. And I'm trying to look on other video cameras, and it looks like something. This fog sucks. I really wish they'd waited an hour for the fog to burn off, because, man, we can't tell anything. I mean, the feed is just doing what the feed is doing at this point, so. No telemetry, maybe no data to know what happened. Yeah, this is really weird, because it seems like I don't know why the T plus counter would have stopped at 5:49. It's very, very odd. Okay. Oh. Oh, man. man. Oh, man. Right. Right. All right. Okay. I okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, let me bring up my so yeah, I have no earthly idea what happened. I didn't it didn't look like there was a giant fireball or anything. It definitely sounds like they lost it, but one would have thought that you would have seen a giant fireball going up from or an explosion or something. I have no idea. Um, yeah, big marketing miss. That's too bad. I'm very disappointed. I thought that since it hadn't exploded, because I would have thought we would have heard a boom and we would have seen on someplace we would have seen a fireball visually. So it's really difficult to know what exactly happened. Obviously, gravity had to take place. So it's on the ground. Either it's on the ground in one piece or it's on the ground in a whole bunch of pieces. But the question of whether it's on the ground in one piece or a bunch of pieces, who knows? I just find it really challenging to believe that it would have hard landed without a big enough explosion that we would have been able to see it through the fog. So I'm very confused by what's going on with that. Let me see if I put my headphones on. If anybody, okay, so Aptera says it blew up an anomaly. No telemetry is best telemetry. I like that, Carlo. So I'm sort of listening to see what. All right, let's see. Starship Launch Season Fog Edition. I love it. I'm getting Discord stuff too. So on Discord we got a Starship Launch Season Fog Edition. So I'm trying to look and see what happened in blew up midair. Yeah, that's really weird because that's unfortunate. Let's see. So 549. So that is really okay. I'm watching a different feed and it didn't happen on the ground, but there was a very bright. Oh wow. Okay. Oh, holy crap. Okay. All right. So yes, it blew up midair. So yeah, it didn't just come in fast. I think it came in like exploded. So it looks like what happened was it lit the engines to start to do the flip maneuver, and then, which I think is why everything cut off at 549. Because if it had come in and done the flip maneuver from past experience, it would have been at about 6. It would have been well over 6 minutes if it had blown up on the landing. It would have been around 6:10 or so. And obviously what happened was you can watch the feed, and what's going on is that you can see the fog, and then all of a sudden the fog lights up. And then all of a sudden pieces start falling that you can barely see. So flight termination system, that is interesting, from CQ Arrows 20. That is possible. I mean, it is possible that it might have been something where they thought it was out of spec and maybe it wasn't landing properly, and maybe because of the fog it wasn't coming in at the right place, although where the cameras were trained it definitely exploded somewhere around that area. Excuse me for one sec. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, while you're at it, you can go to our merch store, which is in the description, and you can get a Don't Mess With Tesla t-shirt. Since we're talking about launching out of Texas, so you can grab one of those for yourself. So anyway, yeah, a flight termination system is interesting. It would have had to almost been an automatic flight termination system, because I don't know how a human being would have been too slow to react and wouldn't have been able to see what was going on. So if that was the case, it almost would have had to been a computer-based flight termination system that somehow it wasn't in the right position, it wasn't doing something right. So very, very sad. Ah, gosh, I don't know. Anybody have any questions? Let's see. Monkey Island fandom. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody have any other thoughts about that? I'm pretty bummed. I was at least hoping that they would have waited for about 1 hour to see, like, you know, just to get the visuals better. I would have thought they would have wanted that. I mean, obviously, we space nuts all really appreciate it and like to be able to see the pretty pictures, but for SpaceX's needs, I would have thought that they would have needed to have that be visible so that they would have the best data possible. It is very strange that none of the other ones have blown up in midair, and clearly this one blew up in midair. It didn't make it, so the other ones did the flip, and then the engines for some reason failed or something, and it kind of came down hard. This one did not get that far. It blew up in midair. So, Terrence, it seems it would be more dangerous to terminate so close to the ground. Yes, I agree. From the other video feed that I've seen, it blew up a lot, and there were big chunks of stuff flying all over the place. So, man, what a mess. Excuse me again. Early in the morning, man. Apparently I need more coffee or something to be getting up. So, yeah, gosh, that's a real shame. Carlos says, that's a foggy way to lose $10 million. Very sad decision. I think so, too. I think they may have been getting a little bit desperate to launch this thing, and I don't know. We'll have to see what Elon says about it, but I think that's a darn shame. I think that it would have been just a wiser idea, because, you know, that kind of fog, living in California, I've seen that many, many times. You get fog, it burns off by 10 o'clock in the morning. So they could have just put off the launch for 2 hours, and they would have had a much, much better view of everything. And I think it's a darn shame that they didn't do that, but I mean, they're SpaceX. I'm just a dude. So they get to do what they want to do. Anyway, so yeah, very, very sad decision that they lost that, and it's too bad. Hopefully they will get enough telemetry to figure out what happened, but I think that they are going to very much regret this decision, considering where it exploded and how they lost it. They're going to feel really bad about that. So I don't know. We will see. Anyhow, so I don't know if anybody else has any questions. I am happy to answer them while I am here. Otherwise, the future. So, as far as I understand it, this is what the future holds for Starship launch sequences. The next one is not serial number 12. The next one is serial number 15. And that has got a whole bunch of new stuff on it. And I pretty much think they don't want to lose serial number 15, because that one is a much more expensive craft. They've tried to build it with more upgraded materials and thinner shell and much more like what the eventual launching Starship will be. So I think they really, really want to stick that one. But anyway, before that's supposed to happen, I believe there are 2 super heavies that have to happen. So if you remember, the Starship is the top half of this thing, and the bottom half is the super heavy. And that bottom half is bigger than the top half. It's like the Falcon 9. So the Falcon 9 has a little second stage with the payload, and it has the big first stage. So it's that same sort of deal. But what is going to happen is the booster number 1, BN1, they're going to take out to the pad and they're going to pressure test it. They say that one's not going to launch. They're just going to test it and make sure the tanks are strong enough, because they're much, much bigger than the tanks were for the Starship. So they need to make sure that that's all going to work. And then they have booster number 2, BN2, is in the wings, and they are going to flight test that. I don't know what kind of parameters. It might literally be like, you know, the first one might be like 2 meters up in the air and then back down again or something, just to test it. But I guess they might eventually try to get to like a 10K hop or something like that with booster number 2. That one does not have to do the flip maneuver. That one has the grid fin, so it'll land like the Falcon 9. So it goes up and then it comes back down again like a pencil. or I think Elon Musk said like a javelin. So it'll come down like this, and then the grid fins will be out, and I think the first ones it will land on its legs, but eventually there's supposed to be a tower with like arms that's going to catch it, which is kind of crazy, but that's what's supposed to happen. So anyway, that's the next two things that are going to happen. So that's probably going to take all of April, and so we're probably going to be looking at May before the next Starship launches, which will be serial number 15. And with luck, I will be able to time my trip to Texas. So if you guys know Dr. Know-It-All and Misinformation, or in other words, John and Lane, me and my wife, are going to head to Texas to go to Austin and to go to Boca Chica to witness to look at the Gigafactory in Austin, and also to look at the launch site in Boca Chica, and with luck actually hit one of their test launches. So that's the goal. That's what we're hoping for, and hopefully that will happen in May, and it will all time out right. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, and we'll take our Tesla there, so we'll have be a massive Tesla / SpaceX party, and anybody along the way will be stopping at superchargers. We'll tweet that information. So definitely subscribe if you have not, and you're interested, and you're kind of on that path between Georgia and Texas. And in Texas especially, we would love to say hi to people in Texas. So definitely let me know in the comments, or definitely just email me. My email address is in the description, etc. So, okay, so let us see. I'm sorry, I've been talking for a while. Let me look at what the comments say. So, Terrence says, is there a KOIE lined up? Another Starship. Okay, sorry. I was like, what does that mean? Okay, so Terrence, another Starship. So, yes, that's the thing. They've got booster number 1, booster number 2. Those are both lined up. Serial number 15, Starship, is actually, I think, pretty much built already, but it needs to wait for the boosters to be tested first. So they do have things lined up. Irfan says, better to take a bad decision during testing rather than at later stages. Yes, absolutely, Irfan. This is not something you want to do. I'm super depressed because apparently I didn't make the cut for Dear Moon because I wasn't asked to do a video like the Everyday Astronaut and I think some other people that I know of as YouTube presences did. And I'm super bummed because I know that like Tim Dodd is like, oh, I don't know if I want to go. And I was like, I would go in a heartbeat, people. So I'm very bummed. But anyway, you definitely don't want this thing blowing up when human beings are on it. So I think, get all of this stuff out of the way during testing. So, let's see. Sebastian the Banana. Nice. I feel like they should have delayed it so it would be clear. Absolutely, Sebastian. I don't understand why. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they decided to do it in the fog, because, like I said, fog is the kind of thing that just burns off in a couple hours. So it's not like it was raining and there was a thunderstorm on the way. Apparently it was very clear around the rest of the launch site, just fog at the ground. So they could have waited 2 hours for the sun to burn off the fog, and it would have been a much better like launch scenario. Anyway, Carlos says, you will be able to catch it in your arms. Yeah, well, you better get to the gym if you want to do that. You got to have some serious guns if you want to catch the super heavy booster. But yes, there's like a launch, the launching and landing tower, so it's both, is going to be very large with kind of wings that will be spread out when it launches, and then will come in it when it lands, and it's going to land and they'll go whoop. So it'll be like two really big arms like this, if I can lean back like that. And it'll come in the middle, and it will land down the middle. So that's crazy. Terrence says, this is rocket science. It's supposed to be hard. Yes, Terrence, absolutely. And this is like rocket science in the 1950s. If you look back at the 1950s, a lot of rocket ships blew up. And what's going on here is that they're trying something that has literally never been done. This whole flip maneuver and landing thing relighting engines at the last second and all of that kind of stuff has never been done before. These Raptor engines are brand new, although I really hope it's not the Raptor engines that were the problem this time, because they have functioned so effectively so far. So fingers crossed it was not the Raptor and it was something else that happened. But anyway, all of that, yeah, so it is supposed to be hard, and all of the explosions and stuff are just like, if you think back to rockets in the 1940s and the 1950s, they blew up most of the time. So it's hard. They're trying to do something new. It's going to take a while to get this to work. Joe says Elon Musk is from England. He is not. He's actually from South Africa. And then he moved to Canada as a teenager, and then he moved to the United States. So he's got a funky accent, and it's actually changed over the years. If you go back and listen to him in the 1990s, he has a very much more South African accent. It's modulated more towards an American accent over the years because he's lived here for a long time. So anyway, so yes, South Africa to Canada to the U.S. So that's where Elon is from, or as some people say, he's from Mars actually, and he's just trying to get back home again. So I'm not going to spread conspiracy theories, but there are people who say he's an alien. So there we go. Shawshank. Oh, hey Shawshank, nice to see you again. Why SpaceX? Why launch in the fog? We lost incredible footage. Yes. Again, SpaceX doesn't necessarily care about us. I know, hard to believe that they don't care about us standard consumers, but I think for their own sake it would have been useful. They needed more data, right? The more visual images are very useful. The telemetry will be useful, but it's only going to go so far. It would have been very useful for them to have had visuals of what exactly happened in those last couple of seconds before things blew up, etc. Ensik. Sahaja, I guess. Bad weather, yes. And I won't say what the other part was, but yes, it swear word. So unfortunately, that's what you get from that. But okay, so yeah. Any other questions? Any other thing? By the by, if you haven't checked it out, I did a video yesterday. Unfortunately, it didn't catch an awful lot of traction. I'm not quite sure why. But if you live in the United States or a country that doesn't have a standardized EV plug architecture yet, I highly recommend, actually, even if you live in Europe or in China, I recommend watching it. But I'm making a contention that Tesla should be aggressively trying to get their charging architecture to be the standard in the US. And they have a very limited time frame before somebody comes in and standardizes on another plug architecture, which would be really unfortunate because I think that Tesla's architecture is super, super good. So anyway, watch that if you haven't watched it yet. It's pretty cool. Paint.square, I just tuned in. Anyone know what happened? It blew up. It blew up above the ground this time, which was super unfortunate, and it was very, very foggy, and nobody could see except for the fact that we saw pieces of Starship flying all over the place. So, no, Paint.square, it was an RUD, but apparently it was before the landing. The telemetry cut out at 5 minutes and 49 seconds, and the standard landing from the last 3 flights was around 6:10 to 6:15. So obviously it was beginning its flip maneuver. You saw the engines light, and then the telemetry cut off. So one guess was that the flight termination system was activated because it was maybe off target, and that is possible. The other one that seems very, very likely is that one of the engines blew up. That seems like that would be a very high degree of likelihood given where the telemetry cut off and what happened, and that's a darn shame. So anyway, Shawshank, how the stream from onboard camera, radio, internet? I assume, well, I mean, they're broadcasting to us via the internet, but I'm assuming they're using radio frequency. They're just transmitting. So, you know, like a real fancy walkie-talkie. I mean, way, way, way more fancy than that. But you know those things that you have with the little antenna. But so they're probably using a very fancy version of that and using radio waves to communicate back and forth. And then they're transmitting that to the internet through repeaters and everything. So I assume that's how they do that. So they would have a whole bunch of cameras, and they would be hooked up to some sort of transmitter on the actual craft itself. Mark says, on the NSF site, they are posting about 100 messages a second, so they spend time doing yes, exactly. Well, Mark, that's the reason why I'm here. I feel like my niche at this point, because my channel, I have a lot of subscribers, but I'm not known for live streaming, because basically I kind of only live stream like the SpaceX serial number, Starship launches, just because I think it's fun and cool, and I'm a huge space junkie. So anyway, you get your questions answered, so if you have a question, ask. So X-Summon T plus 31.1, you can see a cable ripping off and left engine capturing fire. Ooh. So flight termination system enabled. So X-Summon, you're saying that was at 31 seconds after launch? That is very early. Yikes. That is, if that happened, that would have probably doomed the craft from the get-go. So that's not so good. Pratik, Tanaja, if weather is bad, then why space? Yeah, I know. Pratik, I absolutely agree. That's exactly what I've been saying. I don't understand why they wouldn't have waited 2 hours, because probably by now the live view is probably looking fantastic, and it's probably starting to get sunny outside. Shawshank says no damage to the landing pad. Yeah, I mean, one of the advantages, I don't know if that's an advantage, but one of the advantages would be that if it blew up in the air, it would have distributed the explosion, the energy from that out a lot. So we'll just have to wait we'll have to wait. Well, you can check into some of those live streams that are constantly going on, and you can see what people have to say about that. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know that that's that big a deal. It seems like they can concrete that in just a couple of days, so it doesn't take them that long. But I guess that is a small advantage. But it's a super bummer. I mean, if it had landed and then exploded, I feel like we would have been in the same spot we were. But this actually seems worse than the other times. One of the things I know, and they've been having real big problems with this, is the header tanks. And the header tanks are little baby tanks that they use just for the landing. So they've got one for oxygen up in the nose right now. I think they're going to move it down eventually. That's for ballast. And then they've got a methane header tank down towards the middle of the craft. And those two together are what's used to do the landing. And for a while, so basically what you've got, okay, so if you think about having a soda bottle, right, or not a soda bottle, just water, it doesn't have carbonation in it. If you unscrew the top and you turn it over and you start pouring it out, that sucks the air out, and so you have to get like air bubbles coming in through it to refill it. So basically what you have to do with that is you have to what's called backfill. So you're pumping some air, some gas into the tank to fill up the place that's becoming empty as it's draining out to feed the rocket engines. So at first they were doing autogenous, which means they were using methane and oxygen directly from the main tanks to feed that and refill those areas. Then they decided for serial number 9 and 10 to go with helium because they're like, oh gosh, we got to figure that out. Turns out with serial number 10, it ingested the helium and caused the one rocket that they had not to have enough thrust, and that's why it hard landed. And now with serial number 11, as far as I understand it, they've gone back to autogenous using the methane and oxygen, and there's a good chance that autogenous pressurization did not work as advertised. So that would be a shame also. So they're having real problems figuring out how to fill these header tanks with some sort of gas so that they, don't. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll create a vacuum and then they'll just stop feeding. And so you can't have a vacuum. You've got to fill in the top of the tank with something. So that's what the gas is used for. So Mark says, not so fast, Elon. Slower would be better. Question mark. Yeah, I'd say slower would be better, period. But Elon Musk is not that kind of guy. He does not, he's not the kind of guy who just says like, yeah, I'll just take it easy. That's not his MO. So I think that Elon Musk is, this is the kind of thing he does. I think as long as they got quality telemetry out of the launch and crash landing, they're okay. I mean, the pictures are nice. The pictures would probably be nice for all of us to have, probably be nice for SpaceX to have, but as long as they got enough telemetry out of the launch and they can figure out what went wrong, then it's valuable. So it doesn't really matter particularly. Again, these are all test craft, so explosions are par for the course, so it's okay. Excuse me. Let me see if... Yeah, so, I mean, there's still fog, but it's definitely letting up in the area. So, again, if they'd waited until about 9 or 10 o'clock local time, that would have been probably a much, much better launch. But, such is life. So I was saying I was a good luck charm because every time I live stream, they launch, but also every time I live stream, they crash. So maybe what I need to do is like not live stream one time and see if they both launch and land, and then we'll know it was my fault. All right, so maybe I'm a bad luck charm instead of a good luck charm. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if there are any other questions. If not, I think I will probably sign off. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds here. Shawshank. They can use some sort of pipe structure inside the tank to feed intake of engine to better control sloshing air bubbles. Yeah, that's so Shawshank is talking about the header tanks themselves. It's really complicated. They have to build a baffling system in because you got to remember this whole starship is like here. Visual. The starship is sideways coming in, and then it goes like this. And if you've ever done that, I mean, if you want to try that, take a half-filled 2-liter bottle of water or something like that and quickly go like this. That stuff goes, it sloshes around forever. You don't want that happening, so they've got to baffle the thing, which means that they put in little fins and stuff inside to keep all of the liquid from jiggling around too much. And then they've got to work out it so that it doesn't create a vortex as it drains, and they've got to baffle that, so that means they've got to put little oh gosh, what are those called? Injection ports into the bottom of the baffle. It's insanely complicated. You'd think, oh, it's just a tank, no big deal, but it's not just a tank. It's actually really complicated. The ones going up are much easier. Oh, Mark, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Super awesome, Mark. Thank you. Yeah. And a coffee, thank you. Yeah, it's early in the morning. I'm either going to the gym or I'm going to get some coffee after this, and maybe both. I don't know which order is going to be in case, but anyway. I do have work to do. I have my real life in shortly, but I have an hour or so before I go. So anyway, yeah, so the header tanks are more complicated than the main tanks, because the main tanks, the craft, using my awesome visual aid, is just going straight up like this the whole time. So it's always going to be forced down due to the fact that gravity and the thrust of the vehicle is pulling it down. The header tanks are like this, whoops, are like this, and then they go sideways, and it's all very sloshy. It's just a giant mess. So anyway, it's very complicated. The header tank architecture is very complicated, and they are working on that. So probably a lot of those little pieces are what's going on, and they're still trying to work it out. Carlos says, "You're such a good sport." Thanks, John. Nothing foggy about you. Thank you. I am not a morning person, so I usually get up around 7:30, but I just kind of like just chill for a while. So I was watching this thing and I couldn't quite believe they were going to do it in the fog, and so that's why I didn't start live streaming until the last second, but that's what happened. So anyway, Paint.Square, thanks for everything, Dr. Know-It-All. Thank you for watching. I am going to stop. Everybody, let's cross our fingers. The booster number 1. I'll probably live stream for a static fire if they get to that extent. Hopefully it will not blow up. But anyway, next time something exciting happens, I'll be live streaming. So pay attention and definitely make sure you subscribe if you want to do this. And hey, I actually get to answer people's questions, as opposed to a lot of these other channels where if you watch the chat, it's just like, right? So catch it now. Someday, hopefully my channel will be that popular too. It may be difficult, but in the meantime, you guys get your questions answered as you ask them. So I'm going to sign off. Goodbye, everybody. Till next time. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.